link. If you can paste that link into your Instagram, TikTok, your Facebook, whatever social media platform you're on, if you can paste that link, it'll make people
You can
watch
paste that
link. What has already happened today.
Instagram,
TikTok, your Facebook, whatever social media platform you're on, if you can paste that link, somebody's doing it live. Okay, that's good.
paste that link.
That's good. That means they did it. That's why we're hearing them. They went to YouTube and it's actually playing
Facebook,
late. But that means the
whatever
person did it.
social
So
media
thank you.
platform you're on, if you can paste that link,
Somebody's doing it live. Okay, okay.
paste that link.
That's good. That means they did it. We're looking at us. Yeah, we're here now. All right, let's go ahead. Sister Azandi, Kahun Tefnet, Sister Tawadet, let's go to it then.
Namaste family, Namaste Basesh.
We don't hear
Well,
you,
thank-
Sister Azandi.
Can you hear me now?
It's not you? Okay, something happened here. It's not you. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you again for allowing us to be here. We're in the last segment of this men's conference 2025, and we want to thank everyone who stayed with us from yesterday to today. We want to start with some questions just to get through this last segment, especially because a lot of today was centered around finances, economics. And so we want to look at it from so many different perspectives in this last segment to bring it to a full close. Now, the theme of this segment is the architecture of accountability. And architecture itself is the art of building a thing. So first, if you can help us, Basesh, we want to start with you, just to make clear how can there be a art of building accountability or a design to accountability? Again, it's the architecture of accountability.
Right. Well, because what happens is, first of all, most people will tell you, most human beings, right? We want to define that we're complete, right? So if a person's a Muslim, they want to say, well, no, I'm a good Muslim. Well, if they're a Christian, I'm a good Christian. If they're a Hebrew, I'm a good Hebrew. If they're a Moor, I'm a good Moor. Everyone wants to define what they are. If you say to a man or woman, you lack accountability. Oh, how could you say that? I'm accountable. I'm an accountable person. So we are talking about the architecture of it because we recognize, like every other human being, we're all born as children. And being born as children, somebody had to teach us. Somebody had to show us how to bathe, right? If you just take a child and tell them get in the tub and bathe, they'll play in the water, but there's not gonna be much soap and and the washing of the different spots of the body, the crevices. They're not gonna do much of that, but they will play. They have to be taught. They have to be taught how to brush their teeth. No one is born and we just naturally know to go grab a toothpaste and a toothbrush and brush our teeth. You have to be taught. So accountability, like everything else, has to be shaped. And for it to be shaped and molded, it has to have a divine plan, a blueprint. There has to be something that we're looking at that is the blueprint. If we're saying accountability of manhood, we have to compare that to the blueprint of a Marcus Garvey, of a Noble Drew Ali, of a Martin Luther King, of a Malcolm X, of a Total Schomburg, of a Sheikh Dawood, of a Pedro Campos, and I can keep going, right? Of a Sheikh Issa, and we can keep going. These are men who laid a foundation that we can follow. They drew a design and they made themselves into that which they drew. It's the same thing. Accountability has to have a blueprint. If not, we can randomly just make up stuff as we feel and say, well, this is what accountability means to me. And ultimately, it doesn't matter what it means to me, each of us as individual. It matters what it means to those who came before us, who succeeded at the goal of liberating their people in their generation. As it's been said by the great Bibi, Coretta Scott King, liberation is not something you win and that's it. It's something you fight for in every generation. Because the enemies of righteousness, the enemies of decency, the enemies of those who perpetuate racism, white supremacy, they will continually seek to re-enslave a people if you give them that opportunity. So accountability means being able to take the architecture and then account for it. When a man, or when a woman, I should say, an unconscious woman, an unconscionable woman, says, I don't need a man. When you're accounting for something, when you say you don't need something, if you're a business owner and you sell sneakers and you begin to discount a sneaker, there's a difference between discounting a sneaker and putting a sneaker on sale. When you put trainers, right?
Yep.
In the UK, right? When you put a pair of sneakers on sale, it's with the intent to sell more, to bait people to say that store is selling these L whatever sneaker and they're on sale for this price, driving people to your store. You'll sell the first 100 and then you'll bump the price back up, not to the original, but by another $10. So let's say if it was 100, you're going to put them on sale at 50 for this weekend only. But you know somebody's not going to pay attention to this weekend only. They're going to show up on Monday and it's going to go up to 65. They're going to say, but I thought it was 50. Said, I was for the weekend only. But you can still get it for 65. The normal is 100. And you're going to run it for that next week at 65, knowing that that word will go out. And then someone's going to show up and you say, well, it's 80. And they said, but I thought it was only 65. You said, well, it's normally 100. It's on sale. But when you discount something, you just want to get rid of it. You don't care what the cost of getting rid of it is. You don't even care if you break even. You just want something back just so it's out of your hair. So the moment you are no longer accountable, you have discounted the person. I don't need you. I'm not calculating you in my equation for my life, for my success, for my survival. So the architecture of accountability is understanding that. Right? The great Baba Neely Fuller, when he talked about economics, accountability and economics go hand in hand because when you do the books, you have a debit column, you have a credit column, and the person who's balancing the books, the scales, is called an accountant, one who is taking account of what came in, what goes out, what was spent, what was lost. They balance the books to bring the books to black. If the books are not in black, you haven't turned a profit. If the books are in the red, you've lost. We have to use that same scenario when it comes to manhood. Both the ladies in our lives have to be able to take account for us and calculate for the importance, or discount us, or put us on sale, right? for all intents and purposes. And the men have to understand why that is necessary towards the growth and perpetuation and development of a next generation of successful businesswomen and businessmen as it pertains to what we refer to as Rel Selwep, circa Baba Neely Fuller. I pray I'm clear.
Yes, you are. Thank you, Basesh. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kanhun Tefnut. We have a lot of questions for you today, so I'm going to give everybody a chance to jump in.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so again, namaste to Basesh and all of our panel, Brother Owen, and our sister Taret, to ask us questions. Now, I want to kind of go off from where, go on from where you left off. And you mentioned about this is the kind of qualities, these are the things that a young man needs. Now, what happens with those young men who want to do better in families where there is no father? There's no one to show them that way. The mother's doing the best she can for whatever she's chosen or what she's created. How then can we take that blueprint and be able to show these young men who want to do better? Because nowadays we're hearing a lot of young men are either in prison, on the street, or selling drugs, but you have the odd one, maybe two, in every 50, let's say every 1 or 2 in every 50, who wants to do better, but there's no way out. How can we pass that message on to them? How can they, link that to them?
Well, the first thing we have to do is stop repeating the notion, first and foremost, that most young men are either in jail,
Right.
or because if that were the case, then racism, white supremacy wouldn't be working so hard to actually make that the reality.
Right.
The reality is that most young boys are not in prison. Most young black men are not selling drugs. Most young black men are not doing drugs
Mm,
because we can't afford it, right?
Right.
To be able to do it. So that let's look at that. But it also means for the mothers who say, "Well, I'm doing my best," and then I'm going to challenge that notion and say, "But are you?"
mm,
I say, "What?" I don't mean are you doing your best to provide for the child? No, 100%. Are you doing your best to make sure this child has a man in his life? Because as I just said, the moment you start saying, "I don't need a man,"
mm,
or begin to set unrealistic, and I'm not going to call them standards, but dreams, right? Because it's about being qualified for the type of man you say you want, right? You want this man that's up here, but you're behaving down here. That's not going to align.
mm,
So are we doing everything it takes to put ourselves in the position? Now, where does that position begin? By putting yourself in rooms with men of that standard. And that's not going to happen at the bar or the club. It means going to certain type of organizations and churches where those and businesses where those types of men are.
Okay.
Not so much for you to get a husband, the
Mm,
single mother, but so much for your son to be exposed to what those men look like. See, we have a
Okay.
saying here at the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah: you cannot become what you cannot see.
mhm, mm,
I can't become a millionaire if I've never seen and studied and have a view or an understanding or some insights or visualization of what a millionaire
Yep.
is.
And that's really important. Yeah.
You follow? So
Mhm.
putting the boys in those environments. And where does that begin? It begins in the judo. It begins in the karate. It begins in the basketball. It begins in sports. And I'm not saying football because of the dangers of concussions, but in some type of structured.
Mhm.
But in that structure, then it means that mom has to be structured too,
Okay.
right? If son's game is at 10, we can't be leaving the house at 10
That's true.
because you're training that young man to be
wait,
late.
to be late.
You're telling him being late is okay.
Mhm.
And you're going to tell him, "I know we're late, but it's okay. You got to realize sometimes things happen." No, there's no excuse. Unless we got a surprise call, games right now. There's a reason we're late now.
Okay.
But if we knew last week that the schedule said next Saturday games at 10 o'clock and we woke up at 7:30, how are we walking out at 10 o'clock? That's time management. That mother, and my mom, love her to death, but she was one of those mothers. But I used to leave. I was that other child. I'll see you at the game.
I was guilty.
Because I knew who was not going to be late. You understand? Because the coach didn't care
Mm,
that your mom was late.
mhm,
He gonna make me run laps.
mhm,
I'll see you at the game.
mm,
I'm not running laps because we late. Because we're not gonna run these laps, right? So accountability, but that means for the mother who's doing her best,
mhm,
that she now has to say, "You know what? I've got to make some changes."
mm.
But that happens as a result of having organizations. It takes a man to make a man,
Mm.
and it takes a what to raise a lady? No,
Man.
a man. A noble man makes a lady because she has to reflect the light of his visible intellect.
Mm.
Okay, let's take biology. To make a boy, what does it take?
Two people.
Take
Y
two
chromosome.
people, okay.
Yeah.
But to make the gender of boy, what does it take?
Y chromosome.
A man giving off a Y chromosome.
Mhm.
Good. To make the gender a girl, what does it take?
An X chromosome.
A man giving off it. Okay, so y'all do understand, right? See, it's simple.
Okay.
It's biology 101, right? So this is what it's going to take.
Okay.
Sisters have to be told, you're not going to do it out there on your own. You were never intended to be on your own. Oh, because men are no good. Which men? Yes, if we keep going to the catfish farm, we're going to keep catching catfish.
Catfish. Absolutely.
If you go to the shark feeding area, what you going to catch?
You're gonna catch
Sharks.
Yeah.
So let's stop fishing for sharks
Mm.
and start fishing for catfish and get some salmon and some, some kingfish. Get something of worth. Y'all laughing, but this is what I'm talking.
Mhm.
If we want to raise that generation of men to be men,
Right.
it's going to take men.
Mm. Okay.
Right. Sister Toda?
Master.
Master Elder Owen, you on? Because she is not going to hit me.
Okay, so the question is, how do you respond to criticism and feedback? as you be in our process, and our classes, and you're very controversial sometimes in what you say. So how do you respond to feedback from people and the criticism that they may give you when you say certain things?
Well, first and foremost, I had a teacher, Shekis, and he
Mm.
taught me that criticism and praise are the same thing. He taught me as a little boy, 12 years of age, he said, the person who will praise you in this moment will damn you in the next.
Mhm.
If I came into the house right now with a dozen roses, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, I didn't, thank you. Hour later, the same person asks you for something, you say no. So I learned early on that criticism and praise are the same thing.
Mm.
And then being blessed by my mother to be put in sports. I played baseball, I played basketball, I played football, did judo, and I learned how to lose. And I learned how to win. And I had coaches that taught us that you don't celebrate until it's over. And that when it was over, you only celebrated for the few hours after the game, and then it was on to the next game. And so we didn't get caught up. We were being conditioned, those who went through those similar experiences. I heard Dr. Tucker talk about it earlier. So you learn that, I'm going to say this, that it's not an ego way, but I don't really care what people think about me, because I wasn't groomed to care about what people think about me. I was groomed to care, what do I think about myself, and am I doing right by that which I say I believe? You understand? Even the organization that I grew up in, my teacher was gone. Many of them flipped on me, and guess what I said? I don't really care. I mean, genuinely, like if I could dig right behind the aorta, up underneath the atrium, I don't care. I care about the job that has to get done.
Right.
And am I doing right by the job?
Right.
Am I doing my job? Treat this like it's a job and you will show up. I say that to people all the time. This is my job. And if I'm on time for the other people, for the pink people, if I'm on time for them, then why am I not on time for what I'm doing?
That's true.
It's true.
You follow? If I work overtime for them,
Yeah.
so criticism, I live in that world. I vacation there. It's criticism. You know what I'm saying? It's just the word critique, which is the root of the word mystique. So it's just how you choose to lean into it. We don't never allow anyone to shift you because of criticism. Criticism means they're paying attention to you. You can't criticize what you ain't watching.
Yeah, that's
Well, keep
true.
watching.
That's true.
Mm.
Keep watching me. Horror this,
Right.
horror that. There you go. That means you're watching me. I got your
Okay.
attention. Come on, follow. That's the attitude you have to have.
Okay.
Elder Owen, thank you for joining us. Let me turn this down so we don't get a feedback. I want to share something and see if you can help to address this. We're talking today about accountability, but also financial or economic, how to use economics and finances towards our liberation in conjunction with accountability. So I want to share something from our Baba Neely Fuller, who spoke about and defined for us economics. And economics, we know, is not what people normally define it as, just talking about actual physical money. But he says that it is all time and energy spent. So here, just starting off at the bottom, if you all can see the screen, it says, one must ask yourself and others the following questions as they pertain to values and or possessions. And again, at the top, you'll see economics, so you know that it's related. And when we go to the next page, 5, 6, and 7 says, when is your time your time? When is the value of your time you? And how do you prove to yourself that which you call your time is truly your time? Number 6, when is your wife your wife? When is your husband a husband? What does a wife do that makes her a wife? What does a husband do that makes him a husband? And last, number 7, are your offspring your offspring? If they are dominated, taught, and advised by persons who are opposed to you. So, Elder Owen, can you address number 5 and 7. And Basesh, can you address number 6, please? If that's
Well, I
okay.
can't give 5. He gives 5, and I'm just playing. Go ahead, Elder.
Thank you so much. Your time is your time when your time is spent doing things that are bigger than yourself. So when you're contributing your time in a way where it can be multiplied and have an effect on a larger amount of people, you're growing the return of the investment of your time. See, many of us, we think time is just what happens, but time is what you actually doing. Because when you take your time and you're involved in an organization or an effort or a ministry or a function that is going to result in individuals having a better experience or result because of the time you invested, that's where you control your time. You're doing something that you're passionate about, that you believe in, that you're equipped to do, because a lot of us, we're spending time and energy doing things that we shouldn't be doing, that we're not qualified to do, that we're not right to do. And we waste time because we're putting that energy into the wrong thing. It's like planting seeds in the wrong season, on the wrong soil, with the wrong water, and the wrong temperature. Everything is off. Regardless of the effort you're putting into it, the fruit will never manifest. So when you identify who you identify something you're aligned to that's bigger than you. You understand your unique contributions that you provide, and now you freely give that effort, that time to that task, to that goal. You find yourself in a state of flow where time stands still. People call it, when they're playing basketball and the rim is 1,000 feet and you can't miss. You're in a state of flow. Or a writer who's writing and he's in a writer flow, and everything they do is easy and it flows. When you're investing your time that you own into the right environment for the right task, for the goal that's bigger than you, that will bring a return on investment that benefits the whole, you're in a state of flow. You own your time. So it's the quality in the time and not necessarily the time. Some people have been around 80 years, but what quality did that 80 years produce? Some people have been around 30 years, and the amount of effort and achievements in that 30 years, it takes a lifetime for others to commit to get that same result. So it's about finding that thing that you align to that matches the skills and the development and the experiences that you can afford to enrich that. And now you're in a state of flow where your efforts result in a bigger return, and it's not work. It can be tiring, yes, but it's not exhaustive where you're sucking your teeth and you're stomping because you're doing it. And now you're investing and bringing up about a result that many individuals can benefit long after you're off the scene.
Thank you, Elder. I
And
appreciate
what
it.
was the next one, sis?
The other one for you was number 7. I'm going to share my screen again. And it was speaking about your progeny, your children. Are your offspring, if they are dominated, taught, and advised by persons who are opposed to you?
No, they're not your offspring, because your offspring should really reflect who you are. They should be a reflection of you. In the Bible, it says that let us make man in our image and likeness. So the offspring is not just those children that look like you, but it's those individuals, those that you've been entrusted to and that you've cared for and invested in, that have a similar mentality like you. They have the same basic values that you do. They can go anywhere and insert themselves in an environment and say, "Oh, that's Owen's daughter." I can tell by the way they act, they conduct themselves. I remember when I was young and I was in the supermarket with some friends, and we were acting out, man. And this gentleman came from around the aisle. He was the manager of the store, and my dad worked for that company at the time. And all those kids, he called me. He said, "Are you Mike's son?" So your father will never believe you're acting this way. So our offspring reflect who we are. And that's why we are called to reflect with the BBs and the Babas, the blueprint that Basesh was talking about. See, the blueprint allows you to reproduce similar results if you follow that plan. My mom sewed all of the dresses for our sisters growing up, all of the school uniforms. She would buy these patterns and she would lay it on the table, these little paper things, and she would cut the fabric and she would make the dress. And that dress would come out exactly the same way every time she uses that pattern. So the blueprint allows us to duplicate the exact same results, and we can tweak the things that didn't work so that we can improve on those results. So our children, we as men, we owe it to be involved in these children's lives. We owe it to be a part of everything that they're doing. We owe it to the next generation and the generations that came before that gave us the opportunity. Fatherhood and manhood is a big part of that, is the offspring we develop. I want my daughters to marry good men. So I'm relying on those of you that have sons to groom men that my daughters can form a long-lasting relationship and grow families with. So offspring is a result of who you are. And if you don't like who your children are, look in the mirror, because that means you need to do some changes so that you can have a better reflection of you in the years to come.
Absolutely. Eshekasansi Elder, thank you so much. And Basesh, you had number 6.
So
if you
only
need me to bring
Basesh
it up,
married? I mean,
can.
Basesh is the only one talking about wives. I mean, what's going on?
Actually, Elder Owen, you both can address
No, I'm
number.
only joking. I'm only joking.
No.
I
I'm
had
only
to make
joking.
When is a wife a wife? When is a husband a husband? What does a wife do that makes her a wife? And what does a husband do that makes her a husband? Again, that's where the way of life, the scriptures, we must have scriptures. I'm not talking about the Bible as it's been and mistranslated and mistaught. I'm talking about the original scriptures, the original African Quran called the Quran, the original African Tanakh, the Torah, the original African book of Revelations, Estanjil, the original books of the Bible. That's where we learn where a husband and a wife come from, because it is with a culture. Way back in Genesis, they always talk about a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife.
Right.
But it says that that man had a mother and a father
Mm.
who would have taught him how to be a man. So he'll know how to cleave unto his wife. And it would by default say that that woman would have had a mother and a father, but that man and that woman would have a culture, because whatever culture that was is different than this culture, because this culture says a woman leaves her mother and father and moves with the husband.
Love it. Yeah.
That culture said a man leaves his mother and father and goes with the wife's tribe and family. Two different understandings. One's matriarchal and one's patriarchal. The patriarchy of northern civilizations of civilizations of Europe, that group of people have a system with what they're calling wifing. Wife is wiffing, and it just means one who weaves or makes nets or patterns. That was it for them. Husband was husbandry, one who performed husbandry duties like farming. That was it. When we say husband or wife, we're saying as it pertains to religion, right? A lady, a regal lady who is a wife, she knows the Shabbat, the Sabbath, her responsibility to make sure the candles are available and lit for the family. She knows that. The man knows responsibility that everybody on their way in and out that door touches that Chinook. What, you follow? They understand Selah, prayer. The man knows it by culture, his wife's responsible for that baby boy from birth to 4 years, 4 months, 4 days, at which point the man steps in and begins to teach that boy about being a man. Before that, mother's mind. So the two of them, male and female, husband and wife, they're not determining what's husband and wife. The way of life is, the culture, the true religious identity. It tells us what we are. Every Sunday, we say, I am an Atonis Korestian, and this is the original books of the Bible. It is the ancient African version of the scriptures. It is a guidance sent unto us. It tells us how to live, see? It tells us who we are. It defines for us. So it's not something that's arbitrary where I can just say, well, to me, a husband don't matter what to me it means. What does the scripture say? It tells us who we are, tells us what we have the potential to become. Wife, husband, by our standards, being able to grow food, to literally work the farm, being able to hunt, being able to defend. But all of those things have to happen by him being able to be a man. You follow the guy, if you want a guy who's afraid of blood, oh my God, it's blood. Me too. And y'all both afraid, he's not going to be able to hunt. He's not going to be able to guise a cow or a goat or a sheep or a chicken. You follow? He'll guise a carrot or something like that, right? But he won't be able to guise and actually take animals and help raise them livestock to feed family. A husband, he has to be able to defend the family. He has to have a light of intellect. The original books of the Bible says that the woman is supposed to, the lady is supposed to reflect the intellect of her man. If he has no intellect, there's nothing for her to reflect. He's going to be reflecting her or the streets. Whatever his intellect is, she's going to reflect it. So we know a lady or we know a wife by the intellect of a husband. Proverbs agrees with me. Proverbs 31, right? When Proverbs talks about what type of woman? What is she called?
Virtuous woman.
Virtuous woman. The woman of virtue.
Yeah.
What are the virtues? Patience is a virtue. If social media, I don't know if it's available, but if they can bring up what are the virtues and put it on the screen, then we can find out what a lady, what a man, what a husband, what a wife are, because there are virtues to being a husband. There are virtues to being a wife. Everybody says the phrase patience is a virtue, but no one ever asks of what? Patience is a virtue of success, because to achieve success, it takes a level of patience. I didn't say being patient. Patient means you're sitting around waiting for something to happen for you. Patience is doing the work that it takes to bring things about and having the patience to see that work through.
Okay.
One involves work, your works, and the other just involves words. You have it on screen by chance, anyone? From
Yes. We're going to bring it up.
the virtues. We look at these virtues, then we can determine what a husband is, what a wife is, what nobility is. We can determine what these things are.
The virtues, this is of a woman, Basesh, but we can change it as well if you want us to bring up manhood or general. But the virtues of a woman encompass qualities like wisdom,
strength, right?
dignity.
But the Proverbs tells us wisdom and calls her strength, not combative strength, internal fortitude, dignity, regal, upright, diligence, due diligence, what it takes to get it done, generosity, courage, patience, faith, devotion, and are often exemplified by the Proverbs 31 woman, focusing on inner character, moral goodness, and service to others, alongside traits like kindness, honesty, humility, compassion, and self-control. These virtues go beyond physical appearance, highlighting a woman, not saying physical appearance is not important.
Go on. I can still see us.
Not saying that physical appearance is not important, because physical appearance is important, right? But these core virtues we are focused on when you talk about a wife. I don't know if you can bring it back up, but these core virtues, they represent the things that are necessary. So it's not merely us saying, what is your wife, your wife? It's what are the virtues of wife according to your way of life and your culture? When is your husband? When he is living up to the virtues of the way of life. The problem is most people don't want the way of life.
That's right.
But thanks to white daddy, right? White daddy is the system of racism, right? Because everybody treats it like his daddy. Well, white daddy's back. And he's forcing black men and black women to come to a realization of the hour that we're in. You follow? Dignity and self-worth, knowing her own value and acting with honor. Now let's bring up the virtues of a husband. What are the virtues of a husband if we can?
You see it, Basesh? The virtues of a husband center on love,
Loyalty to what?
respect, and commitment.
Don't ask the average woman, oh, loyalty to his wife. It didn't say none of that. I don't see that here. His husband, his virtues are centered on love of who? Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not love of wife? I love the Most High's presence in wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she should love the Most High's presence in me. Kingdom of heaven is within. Breathe into man of the breath of life. So when we have that presence of the divinity, namastu, we bow to the divinity within one another. Thus we have reverence and respect for one another. Demon, pimp, hoe, Negro, nigger, or any of those other derogatory terms, then no, wife cannot respect that. Because if she does, then if she does, then she will start to what?
Basesh, are you still there?
Any
Okay.
any man who she loved or liked, but that man was not noble or regal or upright, if she's honest, she'll say that man through time eventually started to weaken her fortitude and her divinity and her discipline. Any man who's ever dated a woman the same way, who was not regal and upright and noble, began to do what? Lose his way. If your lover is not into liberation, they will lead you into slavery. So these values, these virtues are what tells us what a husband is. I'm not interested in what a person feels. If we can bring it back up, and then I'll ask Elder Owen, please, if you can jump in. We can bring it back up on the screen. Or I'll pass it back to the sisters and let them ask him the next question. But when we look at the values of a husband, and we're talking now scripture, right? Key virtues include being a reliable provider, physically and emotionally, showing empathy and understanding, leading with integrity, fostering teamwork. Oh, every woman's like this. This is the guy I'm looking for. Trustworthy partner, cherishes his spouse. Yes. Ultimately, a virtuous husband builds a secure, loving, mutually respectful environment. Yeah. Type of man got rules. He gonna tell you no when it's a no. He's going to tell you no, that you can't do that. He's going to ask you where you going. You can't want all of this and then say, oh, he controlling because he asked me where am I going. No, I'm asking you where you going, because if you go missing, I'm going to be sitting on the first 48 getting an interview as to do I know what happened to you.
Right.
That's real talk.
Mm-hmm.
If I go missing, they're not going to bring my wife or wives in to ask them what happened to me. I will never see the wife get boarded when the husband go missing. They'll ask her questions like, did he have a girlfriend that you know about? You know, was he hanging with bad people? They never put her as number one suspect. But if you go missing, all you're going to be calling my phone. We know what you did to our daughter. We know that ain't right. Even though I was in another country, don't matter. You understand? So virtue, what makes a husband? Rules, way of life, culture, commandments, ceremonies, rites, dress code, all of those things. Without those things, you're not a man, because that's what determines the purpose. And I'll end with saying the great Bibi Marimba Annie said, your culture, our culture, from who wrote the book Yorugu, our culture is our immune system. It vaccinates us, it inoculates us, it protects us against being mentally hijacked or compromised. Our culture tells us who to live for. Our us who to fight for. Our culture tells us who to kill for, and our culture tells us, if necessary, who to die for. So a person without a culture, and when I say culture, I'm talking the Tonism, the Nazarite way, the ancient helpers of the Most High Heavenly One. We put it away for a little bit to bring it back at the day and time when it was necessary. This is this latter day. Our culture determines what we are. What you see these men and women on the screen, what you see them wearing is a result of a culture. They have chosen to live a way of life, a true religious identity, a religion that as a husband I can identify with because it allows me to have a say-so in my home based off of my intellect, which is predicated on the scriptures and the way of life and all of the great African and indigenous writers globally and what they wrote for our people. And that's the standard. That is the end all and be all. I ain't interested in what your mama got to say. Your mama ain't the prophet. Your mama ain't a seer. My mama ain't no Nebi. My mama ain't no Rasul. They're not, they're beautiful women. We love them to death. Unless they're putting half on this bill, they need to be go sit over there. We got other work to do. That's the day and time that we are living in. I pray we're clear.
Yes, thank you, Basesh. I'll go ahead and let Sister Tawuret question Elder Owen. If Council Tefnut mic is ready, you can jump in. I'm not sure if you guys are working on it.
Yes. Hello, and Master.
Master.
So I found a quote that says, immaturity hates ability.
Well, you cut off for me, sister. Say that again.
Sorry, immaturity hates correction and despises accountability and submission and rejects discipline. So my question is, what steps must be taken in order to become accountable?
Accountability starts really when you look into that mirror. And when you don't have something that's a benchmark, what are you accountability to? Am I accountability to what I feel or what I think? In order to break the law and go to court to face charges for breaking the law, there is a law that's clearly defined to identify how you violated it. So accountability works the same way. And that's why this term accountability partner is so popular, because there is another individual that's involved that understands the benchmark, that understands the thing that you should or should not do, and they can now prick you by saying you violated it, and they can prove it. The first part in the accountability factor is being able to have something that's higher than you, that holds you accountable. That's going to be the benchmark to measure how accountable you are. And then when an individual is ready to step into that accountability phase, they have to be willing to say, I give authority to those that follow this, to those that live like this, to hold me accountable. That's that old iron sharpens iron adage. See, I don't give anyone that's not an atonist the ability to hold me accountable because they're not following the atonist doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
If I've chosen atonism as my way of life, right, and you've chosen another system as your way of life, you don't get to say to me, well, you're an atonist, you're supposed to do this. No, hold on. You don't know nothing about it. You're not accountable. You're
That's
not
right.
my accountability partner.
That's right.
Come
Come
on.
on.
You see what I'm saying? So you go if you following Hagee and all of these prosperity gospel preachers, and then that's your accountability threshold. Don't come on, bring it on this side. Now, if you want to come and be a part of this, there's a process you go through. So now the same law, the same scripture, the same way of life is the commonality that both of us adhere to. And now you become my accountability partner, and I also become yours. But accountability is an opportunity to look first in the mirror at yourself and learn how to hold yourself accountable. Accountable is not regret. Accountability is not shame. Accountability is not an opportunity to stand above someone and say, I'm better than you. Accountability is an opportunity to be coached with love, to say, listen, you can be better. You have greatness within you. You need to tweak this. You need to do this better. And a big part of the accountability factor is how is that message delivered? Because if you step to me with the wrong tone, I'm shutting you off. Accountability, my accountability partner or partners or the brothers that I'm walking this faith life with, that does not give them the permission to step to me any kind of way, even though I am in violation of the accountability thing that we agreed to.
Right.
There is a way you hold someone you care about accountable. And when you approach them the right way and you show them that they're not being accountable and held, and you're holding them to what they agreed to, they're going to be more receptive to receive it. But if you come bucking at a man, he's going to buck back.
That's right.
Right.
You better come
Amen.
step and correct. And then you
Amen.
also need to be someone that I respect,
That's
because
right.
no one that I don't respect can hold me accountable. No one that has no morality high ground can talk to me about morality. How could this demon that's destroying the earth tell me anything about how to live with nature and one another? I want to know the person that's holding me accountable believes in the same things I believe in, have the same scripture that holds us to a higher calling, is approaching me with love and care because they genuinely want me to be better. They're showing me my mistakes in real time, and now they've given me an opportunity to course correct. Now, after that, a person does that 2, 3, 4 times. Now they can step up and ramp up their intensity every time because they're not seeing a change in me. And now there's an opportunity to say, hey, maybe this thing, this way of life, this scripture, this doctrine that we're using to hold as a benchmark, as an accountability, as the law, maybe you're not ready to use that and follow that. So you may need to step away and remove yourself from amongst us so that you can get yourself together. Because obviously, if you don't want to follow the rules and you don't want to be accountable and you're not showing the growth to embrace accountability, then after several attempts to have you course correct for that same issue, there's an issue, there's a bigger thing at play here. And then there needs to be more firmness in the approach.
Excellent.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll pass the mic to Tom Devlin.
Yeah, well, in fact, Elder Owen, you just answered my next question, because I was going to say, well, how does that, kind of relationship
Come on,
look
man.
like?
I'm zooming in. See ya?
Yeah, you must be. Stop looking at my questions. Okay, so with that being said then, why is it important to have accountability, even amongst your peers or your brothers in a church or club? What does that help you with? Someone who is like, okay, I want to be responsible, but why do I need to? Well, how does that
And
even help?
listen, we cannot leave ourselves to our own demise.
Mm.
Listen, without an accountability, without something to hold us accountable, we will lose our way. It's been proven a million times that many individuals that made all the great money in business and success and entertainment, but they had no accountability and led to their destruction. We can look at all the stories without calling names, right? People that made a lot of money but had no accountability.
Like
Mike Tyson, like P. Diddy,
I said,
like
polite.
many other, like Polite, right?
Oh,
He said
These
polite.
individuals,
my fault. I thought he said name somebody.
no, I said, Basesh, can you give us some names? You didn't hear me?
He said
Okay, I'm
polite.
sorry.
I know. And I'm being polite by telling him, yes. Come on.
Hey, got to call it
See?
like it is. I was trying to make sure I won.
Yeah.
They said I hit that thing. It was polite. Number one F. Umar Johnson.
Yeah. Listen, accountability is I'm going to raise money to build a school.
And
I'm
no
going to
school
take
gets
money from
built.
people, and
There
no
you go.
school is built. The accountability says, you said you were going to build a school. Show us the school and what of the progress you made towards it.
Come on.
Without accountability, we cannot self-medicate. We can't self-check because a lot of times we think we're better than we are. We need someone to tell us that, no, you are not that. You're not on the right course. And it's hard. It's so difficult to hear when you're not mature enough to deal with it. See, immaturity allows you to throw a tantrum like a child. They're screaming. They don't care what the message is, They want their own way.
That's right.
And many of us want our own way. And our own way is a road to destruction, to self-destruction. So accountability allows us to avoid the traps and the pitfalls that await us. Accountability means that let me be accountable to those that came before me. Let me be accountable to a way of life, to a system of rules, to how I govern myself. Because when that accountability steps in, it preserves my life. Like Bassett says, it allows us to not walk too close to that line where we fall off and get in trouble. I'd rather be held accountable than to be sitting in a jail cell saying I shoulda, woulda, coulda.
That's right.
That's right.
Accountability avoids that time in our life that there is no turning back because now we've crossed the line. Accountability keeps us and protects us. It keeps us safe. Accountability keeps us safe. And sometimes we don't want to hear it, but we have to understand that when someone who we respect, love, and care about is holding us accountable, it's for our own good. And it's their job to now help us to see that it's to our benefit or the benefit of the group, which is the ultimate accountability. The ultimate accountability is group accountability
Mhm.
because you can have individual accountability, but it does not align with group accountability. When you start to affect the group, you're messing things up for other people. That's the real accountability. That's the highest level in the accountability journey, group accountability.
Thank you, Elder. Thank you so much. Basesh, I was privileged to have a conversation with you a little bit about accountability. And one of the things that you mentioned was that N-E-E-D, need directly correlates with accountability. And I wasn't able to finish that. So I wanted to see if you can speak to us about how need correlates with accountability and what is it that a man needs in order for him to put forth that accountability appropriately.
Well, need and accountability, as we were talking about earlier, need, the things that you take count of are the things you need.
Mhm.
The things
Okay.
you, as I said earlier, you discount
Mhm.
are the things you don't need.
Mhm. That's true.
A man needs to be needed. He needs to have a sense of belonging. This is why young men join gangs.
Mm.
People say, why are all the boys joining the gangs and the girls aren't? Because a man needs to have brotherhood. He needs to be needed. That's a part of growth. You watch them play. Two boys can just be wrestling, two little boys, and they can have a ball for hours just wrestling each other. I watched Shabaka and Amiri. They will run out of one room to the other and then run back to the other room. And then run back to the other room and then run back for hours. You like, yo. And they don't, there's no, literally just the chasing each other from room to room, grab each other, roll on the ground, get back up, and run again. A woman needs to be wanted.
Mm.
Girls play together, but they play together by way of something that they have a common interest in. We're going to play house. We're going to play dinner. We're going to play with the doll. We're going to dress the baby. We're going to. So a female's wants are predicated on group involvement with a common thing.
Okay.
Male involvement is group involvement with each other.
Mm.
Not better, not worse, just different.
Mhm. Okay.
If you just study your boy children and your girl children, you go, this is and nature, the innate nature. So when a young boy, that's why they need constant approval. A little girl will tie her shoes and go, look, and walk off. And you'd be like, great job. And she'll go, mhm. And you'd be like, damn, I thought she'd be excited. Little boy in the potty, he's like, yeah, the other boy come high five, yeah, way to go. They're like, yeah. You're like, eat food in the toilet. You excited? Because they need validation
Yeah.
of each other
Right.
in that moment. The little girl wants validation.
Mm.
She doesn't need it, right? She will confirm herself when she views herself. The little boy, the pecking order works different on that side.
Mm.
So Accountability, a man wants accountability, but he doesn't want it from you. He wants it from other men.
Mm.
You understand the
Why is
difference?
that?
Because he knows you don't know what it means to be a man.
But
Little
didn't he
boys
get
know this.
accountability from his mother? Initially, she she
No,
confirmed for him his identity,
he gets
etc.
rules from his mothers. Go back to Proverbs.
Okay.
When the mother is speaking to her son and then says, remember the rules of your mother,
Mm.
the laws of your mother,
Mm.
the ways of your father.
Okay.
He's watching what his father is doing. He's obeying what his mother's doing. The scripture says in Proverbs that a righteous child is a blessing to his mother, but an unruly child is a curse to his mother. These dichotomies are real in scripture. Before Europe fudged it up, it meant something. Today, because no, I don't agree. I didn't ask you if you agreed. I'm telling you what the scripture says. If you're not agreeing with the scripture, I'm okay with that, but you're in the wrong room.
Right.
You see, the people that don't follow scripture, they meet too. They're on social media, follow them. But here we see that lack of rules has not worked for us.
Mhm.
It doesn't work for us. So that need and that accountability, they're interlocked.
Mm.
See? And this is what makes a man in our indigenous cultures, melanated people of the world, regardless of tribe, no tribe had men walking around like little girls. No tribes were to be Zulu. They say, oh, he could be effeminate. No. To be Cherokee, he could be effeminate.
That's right.
No. To be Mandan, Mohawk, Cheyenne, Seminole, to be Arawak, Taino, Carib. Which indigenous culture said to be a man, you got to find your feminine self and be in tune with it. And you saw the men walking around twirling their spears, and you know what I'm saying? Which of those cultures? Not one. Not one indigenous culture celebrated the effeminization of their men.
Mm.
No, this is, and maybe
true.
I missed it. Maybe there is a tribe, right? I don't know. But indigenous melanated tribes of the planet, not one celebrated effeminate men except Greece, Rome, Germania. They celebrated, the games of Caesar and the great days and times of Nicodemus himself with his boy lover. They celebrate that stupidness.
Right.
We understood that the purpose of this man ultimately is to defend his family against any threat. And that he can't do that. If a lion rolls up, he can't be like, row, row, row. That's not going to work. He's got to and stand and let the lion know when you come, I'm stepping to what? That's
Right.
real. You know what I'm saying? That's that, and we're afraid to say that. Here we're not afraid to say it. Here we're going to tell you this is what it is.
Right.
You follow? I come from a way of life, and before that, from a mother, from godfathers and uncles. I had uncles in my life, and my uncles were real with us. They won. They're like, you gotta learn to fight. But not just to fight with your fist, you gotta learn to fight here first. And I'm gonna show you how. And they held me to the fire, literally. Literally to the fire. That's a different day, another discussion. I had an uncle who said, oh, you want to pretend that you're gonna smoke? I got caught rolling up a piece of paper and lighting it on the stove and called myself smoking. He took me over to the fire and said, let me hold your hand. He didn't put it on the fire, but he held it over the fire. He held it over there long enough. I was like, I'm good. I'm good. No more cigarettes. The cigarette weed is all gone, right? The reality, accountability, we need accountability. And we must be accountable for the needs of our nation, our families, our tribes, or we say sacred places and sacred spaces. We need women to grasp that reality. and move towards that. No good man is trying to live your dreams.
Mm.
A good man has visions of his own that have been established by other men. And he's looking for a regal lady to assist him in facilitating that dream.
Mm.
Ooh, that changed everybody's look at the whole screen.
Can I inject here, Basesh, if you don't mind?
Yes, please.
It's amazing how the mind works, you know. The way Basesh answered that question is a completely different way that I thought about it. And I think that was great. But I would like to bring a little perspective from my standpoint that I think may add to the understanding. Accountability and need. I'll use the Holy Coptic Church for an example. If this is an organization that I've chosen to be a part of, I've committed to it, I want it to be successful, right?
Right.
I need this in my life. Accountability and need teaches us to say no. Accountability and need cannot coexist without no. Okay. If this is an organization that I've planted my flag with and I want to be successful with them, and I believe in this institution and I'm a part of it, and the organizers, the heads of this organization says, we're going to do this, right? That's the need of the organization to make this a reality. Then the accountability in me says, anything that goes against achieving that need, I say no to.
Mm.
So no makes the need possible. By saying no to what is not accountable. So if, for example, there's a clarion call today and it says, we're going to walk or we're going to do this to raise money to build our sacred city in Liberia, and we need to raise $10,000 by the end of January, and everyone needs to do this, that, and that, then I'm all in. And if anything comes to me that takes me away from fulfilling that need, the accountability of this organization says, I say no to it. An author wrote a book many years ago in England. He called it The Magic 100, where he says, you list the 100 things that are important to you, and you say no to everything else. Some people call it taking off the brakes. You can be driving a vehicle and you're at 40 miles an hour, and the car is barely moving, but you take the brakes off. You don't increase acceleration on the throttle, but the car takes off just by removing the brakes. The accountability and the no takes off the brakes so that you can achieve the need. The accountability allows you to take that brake lever, and the no makes you take the pressure off the brakes to help achieve the need. So the need is what needs to be accomplished, what needs to be done, what needs to be satisfied. The accountability makes you all in. It agrees to what you should and shouldn't do. And the no allows you to identify everything else that is counter the success of that need, and you say no to it. So now your priorities, your actions, your mindset is aligned to the need that holds you accountable and makes the goal achievable.
Thank you so much, Elder. Thank you so much. Now, I was reminded of time. So if possible, if Kahun Tefnut, Sister Tawaret, and myself, if we can keep everyone on the screen, we would like Basesh and Elder Owen to answer a question from all three of us, but you only have about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something around there, maybe a minute at the most, but you might have to stick a pin in it. So we can close out with that. I'll allow Kahun Tefnut, Sister Tawaret, and then just circle back around and I'll go last.
Alrighty. Okay. So let me just ask this, and this will go to Abu Basesh. Both of you can actually answer this question. So you've spoken a lot about, accountability, what we have to do, the things that we should have, the qualities and so forth. So someone's on the track, he's he's making his way, he's got accountability, he falls off the track, he makes mistakes. How does he get back on without going too far to the other side? How do we address those mistakes first of all, and how does he get back on track?
You address the mistakes first and foremost by saying, I made them. It happens.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make mistakes. That's part of growth. Being a lady, being a man, you're
Okay.
gonna make mistakes.
Mm.
How do you fix? You get back to the people that are doing the work, right?
Mm.
When an athlete is on a team and they get suspended, when the suspension is lifted, what do?
And they go back in.
They go back to the team.
Mm.
But when they get back to the team, they may have lost their starting spot.
Mhm.
What do? Work hard to try to
Yeah.
get it back.
Mhm.
The same thing. If I've stepped away, you come back. But you don't come back expecting to be a starter.
Right.
You come back with the expectation of, oh, I got my work cut out for me. Because while I've been going this 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, someone else has been playing.
Right.
And they've been playing well. So I have to come back and earn the right to get back in the game.
Okay. Okay.
That's all. It's just, it's very simple. Very simple.
Mm.
My take on it is anyone that goes to a pool and swims for fitness or anything like that, you go to a swimming pool, they tell you you're not to swim alone. Because if you get a cramp or something happens, you can actually drown if there's no one there to pull you out of the pool. So if someone is on a course and they find themselves falling off, that's because they're alone and no one's there to pull them on. We are told to draw near and stay near. Because now when I'm actively involved and I have my brothers around me and I'm engaged, the minute a day goes by, an event happens and I'm not there, I'm not contributing, I'm going to get a text. Hey, brother, everything okay? Right? They're not going to allow me to drown in that pool alone because the rules of the pool says someone has to be there while you're swimming. On this journey, you're not doing it alone. So falling off the track is hard when you are involved and engaged and people know you and now there's a silence, there's a change in demeanor. That person is drowning. Let's pull them out of the pool. There's someone there to notice and pull you out. You're not alone.
Okay. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you, Elder. Sister Tara.
Okay, question is for both of you. What are your personal blind spots or weak areas that you frequently struggle with?
How you gonna know my weakness? I mean, you ask me some strengths.
I thought you were going to yell women. I was waiting for
What?
it.
That's like Superman. Hey, Superman.
I thought he was
What's
going to
your
yell.
weakness,
I thought he was
Samson?
going to. Listen, what's your weakness? I thought
Samson.
Owen was going to say women. I was like, I was like, God,
Process.
these are my
Samson.
confessions.
Samson. What makes you weak, Samson?
What makes you weak, Sam?
You know, seriously, but I'll answer. What makes me weak? What makes me weak is questions about what makes me weak. I don't need to give any ammunition to anybody out there.
No, but I'll answer. I'll answer.
All right, you go ahead, Process. Let me learn from you.
Blind spots. And I talked about this during African Holocaust Month. I wrote a little paper and gave it out to some of the members when we were preparing for it. And I said, not knowing sometimes when to quit. I don't mean quit like give up, but this moment to say, okay, let me pause, take a breather. Pushing sometimes, every night, just staying up too late. And everybody says, you got to get some sleep. I know. You got to get some rest. I know. You really got to get some sleep. I know. You got to get some rest. No, really, I know. But so that, and sometimes forgetting that, yes, I'm human, right? Forgetting that because we want to be invincible. Not because of ego, you just know there's so much to get done and you don't want it to fall short because you didn't do your part. So that is a blind spot. And then sometimes when I get in my focused mood, not knowing when to sometimes give people that extra space. If you understand what I mean. Sometimes you can think, if you're a fixer, if you're a person that's used to seeing a problem and solving a problem, you go around trying to solve problems. And then sometimes you might be around people who may be a problem and you try to solve it and not realizing you can't solve this. So I've had to learn that sometimes you got to pull back. And I've learned over these last years now, silence is golden. Right? The older I've gotten, I'm 52 now. The older I've gotten, I've actually learned over the last year and a bit, I'm not wrestling with people no more. Now I just get quiet. If I'm not talking to you, it's because you're not listening. Because the people who are listening, I'm talking to. If I'm not talking, I tell the children, little ones, 4 years old, if you don't listen to me when I'm talking to you, when you tell Dad, huh? Not listening. Me either.
Right.
Huh? I don't understand. I thought you said you're not. No, I said you're not listening. Right. We're not listening. I don't understand. No, real talk. So that was a blind spot because I'm the person thinking, okay, I can talk sense to a person. Right? Because I grew up that way, so I thought everybody else was that way. You can sit with a person, show them here's the things we need to fix, and they will naturally align with that and reflect that in their ways. And I've learned over these last 6, 7 years, male and female, that there's people that's like, I don't care if you got a screen TV and show me everything, and Jesus and Muhammad are sitting next to each other. I'm still not going to, it's still going to be a but. So at this age of being a sheikh, right, 52, I now go, say, you all right? I'm great. That's all I got. Silence.
And also,
Golden.
sorry, and also, some not asking for help. You know, men in particular. I'm talking to the men now. It's very difficult for men to ask for help because, in the vein of Basesh's thoughts and what he expressed, it can be interpreted as a form of weakness. And sometimes, when the clarion call for help should be asked, it's so late in the game that it creates so much disaster and so much destruction. It can actually destroy lives and really ruin relationships and situations, when a simple reach for help earlier in the process could have prevented so much of that from happening. That's why brotherhood is so important, man. Sisters have so many outlets for support. And when they reach out for support, they're considered strong for doing so. That's a strong woman that she can ask for help and tell her story, and right in a community where other women would support her. Men's first reaction is going to be ridicule. Oh man, look at that punk. He's not, what he's saying about that for? Look how weak he is. When it takes so much strength to ask for help. But you don't just ask anybody for help. Right? If a pack of lions are hunting and they don't go to the hyena and say help, they go into that pride for help. So it's important for us men to align ourselves with groups of men, like those brothers you heard speaking in this weekend. Those are men that you can align to, and you can speak to them and ask for help. Help sometimes is just someone to listen to what you're going through. And with our experiences, we're able to shed some light on it and go to the scriptures to help guide and find some support for you. And asking for help sometimes is a big weakness that strong men have as a result of trying to be strong and to stay strong.
And
Thank you, Elder.
allowing those strong men, when they help you, yes, we're going to make joke of you.
Yeah.
But in a way that's compassionate, right? The joke is not about you at your moment of being weak. The joke
Right.
is so that you won't get caught up in that moment.
Right.
Make
And
it your reality. The joke
Yeah.
is to see the humor in it. Right?
Right.
If you see the humor in the problem, you can solve the problem.
And men can handle that type of humor.
That's right.
That was very insightful, even though y'all violated all the rules of this last piece here.
Well, you violated
That
the
was
rules.
very insightful.
You're not wearing gold and black. You violated the biggest rule. You show up in bold red. Everybody's in gold and black. You didn't get the memo? Violator number
I didn't
one.
get the memo. I definitely didn't get the memo.
I can send you that violator song by what's your boy named Q-Tip.
So, so Elder, if you can help, I'm gonna be difficult. Now you got 10 seconds. No, I'm kidding. The last question for you, Elder, is because we spoke a lot, right? I didn't speak a lot. I asked some questions, but all our noblemen spoke a lot between yesterday and today. And a lot of it applied to our men of nobility, right? Those who have chosen this way of life. But we have also invited other men into this room, men from different backgrounds and different ways of life, that this may be their first time hearing this. They may be on YouTube, they may be on Facebook, they may be anywhere. Their cousin might have sent it to them. So other men watching who have not planted their foot or taken a step towards liberation, what would be more involved in liberation as it pertains to this African theology liberation, as it pertains to what the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah is offering? How would that benefit them? How would them being more involved help these melanated men?
There's one thing being involved does. It allows you to make a name. We want to be men of renown. We want to be Isaiah 58 men. We want to be men like Yeshua, who says, I come to set the captives free. I come to feed the poor and give shelter to the homeless, and to bring a healing word to the downtrodden, to free the prisoners. We want to be men that bring results. We want to be like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, that built those cities that are still revered today. We want to be repairers of the breach. We want to bring back that old time manhood, those great men that history continues to talk about, whose works other great men built upon. Many of them in our recent memories, they stand on the shoulders of the philosophy and the teachings and the actions of those men that came before. As men, we are required, we are mandated, we must stand up, use the backbone that we have, get up off our knees and go and make a name. But you cannot make a name alone. If you go into the scripture and you look into the etymology and the Blue Letter Bible and look at the meanings of those words, not as it is given by the Greeks and the Romans. They don't want us to make a name. Let's get into the original language. Take your time and go over those scriptures, and you will see how it talks about men having character, a standard, coming together and joining forces to rebuild old cities, to rebuild old ways, to create families, to create environments of safety for their children. And then they're able to go out and teach and preach and bring good news to the poor. That's what separated the sheep from the goat. Are you a sheep or are you a goat? Are you on the right hand of the real and living Messiah or are you on the left? Are you on the right hand that says, come, thou good and faithful servant? Or are you on the left, damned to the fires of hell that history will never remember? And your children will ask of you, what did you do when it was required to stand? I want to make a name, and I want you to make a name. Let's make the name together.
Amen. Thank you so much, Elder. Thank you so much. And Basesh, if you can help to close us out. I have about 15 questions left. Since we're violating rules, I might as well finish it all out. No, but Basesh, what is the best form of governance for melanated people today? Because leadership has now become necessary. So if you can kind of let us know what is the best form of government and what is the most important thing for you as a leader to acknowledge in this time, at this time?
Well, the best form of government is very simple: a liberated theology. A theology or a government that's predicated, or people that are governing themselves based off of scripture. I'm not talking about Paul's books. I'm not talking about hadiths. I'm talking about the original Torah, Tanakh, the Torah, the original Istanjil, the Injil, the original Qur'an, the original text, the original books of the Bible, the ancient tablets, the scrolls, the Malian records, the manuscripts. Because I say those are the best things because that's when we ruled. That was the height of our culture. When you think of the height of Nubian culture, whether it's in Sudan, down in Nubia, Koroma, or Napata, Nabeta, or up in Ethiopia, Aksum, or in the land of what they call El Gor, today known as Arabia, Aswad Arabia, Black Arabia, or the Indus River Valley civilization, or the Mayan or Inca or Aztec cultures, or Peru and Ecuador, or Brazil, or the cultures of the Taino, the Arawak, the cultures of the natives of the America, all of them had written texts. Don't let the Europe lie to you and say, oh, the Native Americans, no, they had writings. That you go to the British Museum and go to the North America section, you'll see they had writings. The purpose of having a script is to write something. So when they discovered these people with script now, because the people didn't want to turn over their records to you so you can say what is and isn't and borrow what you want. So the best form of governance is the form of governance that allowed us to rule ourselves. And we were always ruled where we did not separate church from state. The religion and the government worked hand in hand. Every great ruler was the highest political figure and the highest religious figure. So that the religion and the politics, or the religion and the governance, would be balanced. They'd be one. That is no different today. That's why we refer to it as atonism. The Catholic Church has the same thing. It's called atonism, at oneism, the unification of all sides of our culture, having one head. Now, any leader, myself included, has to stand on the shoulders of someone. Has to. Why? Because only that shoulder can verify if that person was properly prepared. You understand? My teacher stood on the shoulders of Sheikh Dawood, Ahmed Faisal, the one who built State Street, the oldest masjid in America at the time, to date. And Sheikh Dawood, he stood on someone's shoulders called Dus Ali. And Dus Ali stood on someone's shoulders called El Mahdi. And El Mahdi stood on, and we can keep going back shoulder to shoulder, all the way back. That's very important. People popping up, I had a calling, God spoke to me, that ain't gonna cut it. Because we want to know what God.
That's right.
But that should also apply to the so-called conscious community.
That's right.
Whose shoulders do you stand on? And if you say I come from this doctrine, show me your behavior, your words, but your works more than your words in this doctrine that you say you come from. I can go back to the Nubian Islamic Hebrews back on Bushwick Avenue, and I can take that Ansar doctrine, that four of them by each other, one soul, as we say today, in different bodies, and I can show you that within the framework of the Holy Coptic Church. It's the skeleton. The flesh can change. The flesh is going to change because we put on weight, we lose weight, tall, short, light, dark, time, whatever. But the actual framework, and that's why the Holy Coptic Church, though we may not be as large in numbers yet, we're able to get things done because we're functioning with the same framework. The framework of an organization, the framework of a religion, the framework of a way of life is very important. When people also, a leader, when they speak and they don't mention the greats, that's not a leader. Leaders understand the importance of honoring the mothers and fathers of yesterday.
Amen.
When I see people on the so-called conscious community or religious community quoting great leaders and never mentioning the name, that's the first warning sign. I mention name. I say who taught me. I say who, Neely Fuller, and all the people around us. If y'all listened this weekend, every speaker, every interviewer quoted Amos Wilson, Naeem Akbar, Francis Cress Wilson, Sojourner Truth, Marimba Annie, Marcus Garvey, Amy Jacques Garvey, Sonora Hudson Weems, Bob Mark. We quoted Bible, Quran, original books of the Bible, language, etymology. what you can go and do what we call Ben Shenter. You can know that it's a tonus verified and approved. It's been researched, it's been analyzed, it's been criticized, it's been scrutinized, it has survived the knowledge questions, it has answered the who, what, when, where, why, how, and because of that, it stands. I was groomed to be a leader. I didn't want to be a leader. I was bred to be a leader. I didn't wake up and say, I'm going to be a leader one day. I want to tell people what to do. No, I got children telling them what to do. But I understood that someone along the way, he saw something in me that I may not have understood in myself at the time. But he would say, one day you're going to do this. And one day you're going to lead an organization. And one day you're going to do that. And I was like, oh, okay, right? Because you're young, you don't know. But now I look back and I go, that's what he was talking about. And now when I see the younger people, when I see the Brother Demarius speaking, right? And I see Sister Azandi speaking, right? And I see the younger people coming behind me, and I'm going, wow, I'm now able to look and see what he saw. I see the potential. I see the ability. I say, man, imagine being that when you were that. You know what I'm saying? And that's very important.
Yeah.
And most importantly, every leader should understand that we have a lifespan. Never be afraid. I learned this from my late father. He said, Amadou. He said, the problem with most people, Amadou, is that most leaders want to lead forever. They don't understand that leadership, and Miles Monroe said something similar. He said that what makes you a successful leader is when you have a successor. You're not successful until you have a successor, until you have succeeded in giving that knowledge, wisdom, understanding, experiences to another. Now you're successful because now you can ensure it will live on when you're gone. So my goal, I always tell people who are around me, I say, you're gonna have to remember this stuff because I'm not gonna live forever. Anything can happen. We don't know what tomorrow holds. But if we want to succeed, then every person listening has to understand drawing near, staying near to me so that I can infuse in you the qualities that were infused in me. I stand on broad shoulders. The man whose shoulders I stand on, Sheikh Isa, right? The shoulders that I stand on, he showed me how to be, and he held me beyond accountable. And there were men, some of who are watching right now, right? They're online today. There were men who watched me as a little boy. And when I got a little cocky, they checked me. I was 12, you know, right? I was cocky. Sometimes because you're a 12-year-old, you're real smart, but you forget you're 12 and that's a grown man.
Right.
He want to knock your ass out, but he's not going to do it because you're little. So I had to learn, be careful what you say. Be careful who you're talking to. So I learned Sayyid, Sayyida, Mr., Mrs. I learned the importance. My mom taught me a lot of it too before I came into the community. But the importance of yes, ma'am, yes, sir, excuse me, please. Oh, my big one, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Being able to, those things. And then to understand that if you are a leader, you are a representation of the people. You're not the people. To lead, you have to have a mandate. The people mandate. I say this all the time to our members. A leader gets the type of people he inspires. A people get the type of leader they require. If you are leading people that are disagreeable, disobedient, check yourself. Because if that's what you're doing, my dad would always say, I'm the minister of justice of the country. If people have a big skirmish is going on and they hear the minister of justice is coming and they run, then truly I'm not justice. Because the people that are good should not run from justice. The people that are good should be, justice has arrived. If you are a leader, for me, if I walk in the room as a leader, if I walk into the pitch as a coach, and the kids are, oh, coach is here, I walk away because I failed them. They should be excited. Coach is here. He's here to give us something to be better.
Right.
That's leadership. It's not about money. It's not about what you wear. It's about those types of characteristics for the whole. And ultimately, my family is my family, the organization first. There is no my family outside of organization,
And
because none of the women that are with me or have ever been with me did I meet outside of organization.
Mhm.
Them in organization, then the thing that will keep us together will be our interconnectedness to organization, leadership.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Basesh. Basesh, before we leave, and this, I promise this, please, please, this is the last thing, because you said that we function as a whole and interconnectedness between male and female. So although this is the men's conference, there are ladies, there's one sitting next to you, there's ladies online watching. So how can we, or what are we supposed to do, I should say, to assist in standing side by side with the man of everything you guys said in the last 2 days? Why are we here? Like, what is it that we're supposed to be doing to not cause resistance in this process of manhood or nobility?
Well, I would say to every lady that's listening, every woman that's listening, every sister, every mother, every daughter, every wife, every niece, every aunt, every grandmother, every surrogate mother, we are not your enemy, and nor are you ours. The most important thing we can take out of this is that there are men who do care for Black women, for Black girls. But in order for us to do what is necessary to protect you, you've got to support us in what we are doing.
okay.
And the greatest support you can do is in becoming a reflection of what we are becoming. That's the greatest support. Every man listening knows what I'm talking about. When you have women in your life that are supporting what you are fighting for, the fight is not so hard. But when you have women in your life that feel like they're holding both legs, ankles, tying your shoelaces together, gluing your shoes to the, no, I'm being honest, right? By attitude and or behavior, it just makes the fight 10 times harder. We can't put you back on the throne while you're keeping us from putting you back on the throne. Yeah, you follow? So the sisters, I would say, do as you all, those of you here this weekend, do what y'all are doing. Get involved. The women you see on the screen, they stay up late, late, late. They're in England up late, 2 in the morning. I text Colin Teflon at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Colin, can I ask you a question? And she'll text back, yes, my brother Blue. I go, okay, good, she's up. I remember years ago, she'd be like, I gotta get some sleep. I need 8 hours. I cannot function if I don't get 8 hours. Now, how much you get? About 4, 3?
Well,
Yeah,
if
see?
that, if that.
Because you understand the reality says what?
Yeah.
To succeed, and I used to say it, yeah, look at me like I was crazy. I said, successful people, to get where you're trying to get, you can't sleep it away.
8 hours.
Nope.
Not 8 hours, 1/3 of the day you sleep? Oh, okay. All right, racism, white supremacy, losing. You follow? So that, I would say to every sister here, help us, get involved. Start teaching, read, study. The greatest thing you can do, study. Women, read. Don't read, finish the whole book. Read it all the way through.
Yes.
Read, ask questions, apply the answers. Because when we do that, now we're one. Now we're one. Now it'll make sense what I'm trying to do. And now I'll understand you when you speak. If we find ourselves saying to our spouse, you don't understand me, of course he doesn't understand you. Because you're not reading from the same book.
That's right.
You're not even on the same, you're not on the same page, same paragraph, same book. Your book's upside down, inside out, and backwards. Of course you don't understand. Do you understand me? No. I don't know what you just said.
Thank you, Basesh.
All right, that's it, y'all.
That's
See
it.
y'all. Yeah, no, we have coming up. First, December 21st begins Hanukkah. Our Festival of Lights. Get your Hanukkah sets, get your 9 colored candles. If you don't know what I'm talking about, seek out the book, The African Origins of Christmas, what it really means. So you can light the candles during this season. Get your palm trees, your fake palm trees or real palm trees if you got it like that, right? Get your palm trees. I got to order a palm tree. They're going to get on me now because I'm saying this, just a sweat, right? Palm trees.
Accountability.
I'm going to use words again like, damn it. Gene for the next Batman, right? But get your palm trees, get them up, get the lights on them, the menorah, light your Hanukkah, those 9 days from the 21st through the 31st of December. Observe Christmas at that 5th day point. Celebrate the children, the family, but read the book, The African Origins of Christmas. It will explain. It's about 200 pages. You can get through it. Only do 10 pages a day. You'll be deep into it. And we need to get ready for that. Then we have in January, what we do in January. End of January going into February, it always goes. We're having Love, Lies, and Liberation. It's going to be a real good one this year. We're going back to that first year format. We're putting everybody on the screen whose cameras are open. We're having real intense conversations. I'm going to be on my other stuff.
We're looking forward to
right?
that.
It's going to be fun. We're going to piss off some people. Love, Lies, Liberation. You don't know what Love, Lies, Liberation is, you can text 646-479-9465. You got 5 years of it from 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and 24, and 25, so 6 years. And you can get every week's recordings. We do it for like 7 weeks, 1 year, another year was 7, another year was 6. Then we did 5, 5, and 4. So you can reach out and you can watch some of the older ones if you would like, and we can recommend them for you. There's also a book, Love, Lies, Liberation, The Science and Art of Sex. Very important book about the sacred energy exchange, why sex is so important between male and female. And I'm not talking about the copulation of it, but the exchange of energy, because energy is neither lost nor destroyed, but simply transferred from one body to the next. And then, of course, we have the Women's Conference coming up, and that takes place every year in March. And it's during that weekend and going towards austere, or right, what some miscall Easter austere, and New Resurrection Sunday. And of course, Pesach Shemot period, March 22nd through the 28th. We have a lot of great things going on here at the Holy Cryptic Church of the Black Messiah. For those of you that are not members, for those of you who are considering and have an interest, text 646-479-9465 and say interested to know more to become a member. And we'll get you some paperwork, some information you can read up on, some things we can text right to your phone, so that way you'll be able to read up on it. You can also remember Cryptic TV on YouTube, all of the recordings from different years of, snippets, 20 minutes here, as well as the Holy Cryptic Church International on Facebook. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. And most importantly, remember, we do all of this because we have no choice. Racism, white supremacy, devil's seed is real. We're not trying to fight them. We're trying to fight against ignorance of our own people and of our own selves. We can win and get back our independent mind so we can do what independent and free thinkers do: liberate themselves,